They need to hear the message that we're going to explain because they have lost sight in the value in marriage. I'm independent. I can handle myself. And they think that that's what men want. But it's the feminine aspects that we're going to talk about.
He doesn't need to get married to a woman because she cooks and cleans, right? I think this is one of the things guys are like, oh, well, she needs to cook and clean for me. No, it's not that. It's the meaning behind that.
Right.
Like why she would do that. That's not the bonus. So then what else does a woman have? He can't get love, real love. Like
an admiration and desire.
Yes. And companionship.
Right.
Right. Like that, the true intimacy. Like he can't get that from a roommate. Say, it's kind of like the first, I mean, I think our first episode was why guys should get married, right? Yeah. But this one is more, it's still why guys, like why a man would get married. Like what is the benefits, because
what a man gets out of marriage.
Right. And so the idea is like, this is geared towards not trying to convince men to get married so much. Right. Although there's a piece of that, but
I think it's both.
Yeah. But also talking to women, because we saw a TikTok from a woman that was like talking about the subject, and it was kind of more appealing to women of, all right, this is why a man would want to get married. This is what he's missing out on, which I thought that was a great, just, because we didn't really talk about that aspect of it as much, I think, in the first episode we did. So,
right.
Yeah. So why should a man get married? What?
You're cutting me off. You're holding my stuff, and now you're like, go ahead. Do the episode, Nicole. All right, well. Yeah, I mean, I think it is for both. It was a woman talking, so yeah, maybe it was geared more towards women, but I think men need to hear the message that we're going to explain.
Right.
So that I just saw... they need to hear the message that we're going to explain because they have lost sight in the value in marriage and what they actually get. And I understand from their perspective too, because, either they've created an environment or a woman has created an environment that's hostile and chaotic and, and most of the time it's both people creating that environment, if I'm being honest. But so they don't know what they're getting. And even if they're getting a little bit of what we're going to talk about, they don't see the value in it. Right. And then women, they have lost sight of it because as a woman, I feel like we've been conditioned to be like, okay, what do you bring to the table? By men, by society, like go get your own job, get your own money. And so when women go on a date, they're like, I've got my own money. I'm doing my own thing. I can, I'm independent. I can handle myself. And they think that that's what men want. But it's the feminine aspects that we're going to talk about that men value and women should be empowered by and should put on the forefront.
And I was going to say, that's what feminine men want. Right?
Right.
Feminine men do want they want the woman to help provide for them.
Right.
But I mean, it might be good to actually to start off by talking about what are the things that are not a benefit to a man. Like what is man not looking for? Why should a man not get married? Essentially, so what I'm saying is, what a woman's not providing that a man needs, or what does
a woman not need to provide to a man? Like that's not going to benefit him.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to word it, but for example, cooking.
Or what doesn't he value?
Right. So making money, she doesn't need to make money, right? That's not
some men though. 50 guys might say that.
Yeah, but a man's not going to get married. He doesn't need to get married to a man because she makes money.
That's true.
That's right. He doesn't need to get married to a woman because she cooks and cleans, right? I think this is one of the things guys are like, oh, well, she needs to cook and clean for me. No, it's not that. It's the meaning behind that.
Right.
Like why she would do that. But you can have someone, you can cook for yourself, you can pay for some, especially we're talking really successful men that women would want to marry.
If you're successful, you normally are a little bit more manly and masculine.
Right, exactly. So we're talking about the kind of men that women would want to marry, right? Mm-hmm. So that man, he's like, I could hire a chef. I can use Uber Eats. I don't need someone even we have maid service, right? Like it's, don't need that stuff, right? So then it's like, then next on the list comes sex. And again, sex, if you're a successful guy, that shouldn't be a problem for you. You can get that. There are multiple ways, right? Whether you're paying for it or whether, hopefully you're not paying for it. But if, I'm just saying, don't do that. Yeah. But you should be able to have success.
If you're successful, I doubt you're paying for that.
I mean, some guys still are. There's like this whole thing that Psych Hacks guy did, the Ryan Taravan. He's usually got good stuff, but he did like a 3-part series on that kind of explain. But I disagree with it still. But there are a lot of successful guys, unfortunately, that are. He also said he wouldn't do it, and he's successful. But he gave the rationale for why guys would do that, which, again, you can watch it and see what you think. But my point is that that's not the bonus. So then what else does a woman have, right? And so that's where we get to, I think that's kind of the message from that TikTok, which was that he can't get love, real love. Like
an admiration and desire.
Yes. And companionship.
Right.
Right? Like that, the true intimacy. Like he can't get that from a roommate.
Right. Or even paying somebody.
Right. Yeah. You can't pay someone for that. So that's the thing is that's the real.
Well, and the nurturing, she said also like the nurturing, the softer side of women that women have hidden away.
Right.
Because they're afraid to present that and men take advantage of it or that not be the right person or things like that. But there is power in knowing that those things are valuable.
Right.
And women have lost that. And men have also lost that. And men have lost it because, one, they don't see it that often because women have hid it away.
Right.
Because they're afraid to show that vulnerable side. It's vulnerability.
Right.
And she might have even said that too, is like it's something that needs to be protected. And that's why in one of the other episodes, we talked about how a woman needs to feel safe.
Right.
Because the softer side of femininity needs a safe space to exist.
Exactly.
And that's why, yes, women can do that on their own. Like they can be feminine on their own, but it's harder because they can only really do it in like a safe confine of like their home, not really necessarily too much like in public sort of thing. And they're not going to do it right off the bat with a man, like full blown. Right. Like I'm not saying don't be feminine when you go on a date, but as a woman, you have to be cautious when you're getting to know somebody. You don't know what's going to happen. And, so it's a balance. It's a balance for women. But I feel like society has messed both men and women up where men don't value femininity and the vulnerability and the nurturing and the caring and the love.
Right.
Because even we've done episodes where we're like, men need respect and women need love. But at the end of the day, both people need both. It's just that men need respect more, like higher on the pedestal, and women need love higher on the pedestal. But both of those things have to be there. Because, like you said, if there's not love and you can go, find a woman for a night or whatever, and you don't have that intimacy, that connection with somebody, it's going to feel very shallow and hollow and not the true depth of a relationship.
Exactly.